Because apparently, the University of Zambia, located on Great East Road, has its own culture. It's got its own way of life. Unza students are cut, apparently, from a different cloth. They abide by a different set of rules. The society that is encapsulated within the walls of Unza, apparently, are different from the rest of us. This is what they say. Many of you are aware that I'm very displeased with Unza. I've been displeased with Unza since the day they insulted me. Here it is. I went to the Unza grounds a few years ago. And these kids, these kids can't be any more than 22 years old. And I was standing in the middle of, they've got a thing there. Now, forgive me, I'm not an Unza student. I've never been there. I've never learned there. I've never enrolled there. But I do know the topography of Unza to some degree. Okay, I've been there a couple of times. They have a section there. It looks like it's a conclave of apartment buildings. They've got a square right there in the middle. They've got like an area where people can gather. They've got foliage there. They've got a little concrete footpath. And I had gone there to cover, I forget the event that I went to cover. There was some ruckus. So I went there to cover it, as SML TV. And for some reason, they were not pleased with me. I forget what I did or what I said. And they started hurling the most vile, the most putrid, the most repugnant, the most unpalatable. There it is, I said it. The most unpalatable insults you've ever heard on this side of the Southern Hemisphere. These kids started hurling swear words at me, and I remember looking at them thinking, tamwafundwa uko kumayanda mwafumoko tamwafundwa. Do you not have any sense of decency? Are you telling me that half of you were born in a barn with animals and canines? Are you telling me that the average Unza student can't put two sentences of decency together? All in the name of what? Your culture? That's not culture. Let me tell you something, Unza. Before there was any such thing as the School of Humanities, we were black. Before there was any such thing as the Confucius Center over there at Unza, we were black. Before there was any such thing as the first Unza graduate, we were black. And long after Unza has long since passed from the scene, we will still be black people. Twalikwatentambie fwebantu. We have our own culture. So here it is, Unza students. I hate to be the one to have to break this to you. Zambian culture precedes Unza's culture. You, Unza students, have to bow the knee. You have to lower your head. You have to humble yourself under the pavilion of Zambian culture. You can't tell me that Unza has its own culture, therefore you can insult Abakalamba. What, under the guise of your own culture? That's nonsense. Who taught you that? Where did you learn that? Who gave you that false information? Ba Unza. I have a question for you. I do. And this is before I throw up the question, I have to ask you this. Why does Unza get a pass for offending the rest of society under the guise of campus culture? Mwewa kabi munatweba ifwetu mwali sambirira imwe. Imweba Unza imwe. You tell us that all the time. Oh, we are the creme de la creme of Zambian society. We are the only ones that have this vantage knowledge. We can say whatever the hell we want because we're Unza students. We are riding high on the saddle of academic achievement because we are Unza students. Pull your head out of the clouds. You're not that great. Let's just be honest. Yes, there was a time years ago when you donned the Unza gown. You stood out in the crowd. When you wore the Unza gown and cap, you literally would part the Zambian Red Sea. Not anymore, honey. So pull your head out of the clouds. You're great, but you're not that great. You're awesome, but you're not infallible. Let's put it that way. Honey, you are a student at an institution that has been, might I add, downgraded. So let's start there. But here's my question. Why does Unza get a pass for offending the rest of society under the guise of campus culture? I hear this all the time. So many people tell me, no, Mwewa, those, just leave them. Those are Unza students. They've got their own culture. So what? The reason you guys have upset me, we lost a gallant soldier in the name of Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, a man that you have no inclination of appreciation. You wouldn't even know the significance of Dr. Kaunda's contribution to the continent of this great continent. Did I say that right? You wouldn't know the significance of Dr. Kaunda's contribution to this continent if it hit you in the face. You wouldn't recognize it. Why? Because you're Dwanzi. You're Dwanzi and you're in your own world. You don't even know what the hell you're doing because you're an Unza student. Here it is. We lost Dr. Kaunda. The whole world is mourning this man legitimately. There are countries all across this world that have enacted days of national mourning. Some have done 7, others 13, and so on. We've done 21. And here it is. You come along as an Unza student and you begin to mock the death of the president. And we are supposed to understand that, oh no, Unza has its own culture. Nonsense, hogwash, bull roar. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. And what is this thing? Somebody please explain to me, why do you fear Unza students? What's up with that? Why do you do it? Why? Why? Who the hell are you? You're just a bunch of kids. And you're not that smart to begin with. There are many of you that make it to Unza. You don't go all the way. Some of you fall away, others of you fail. So don't come to me with this aura of invincibility that no, if Unza. Some of you don't make it. Some of you don't make the cut. Boom. There's a reality check for you. What are you going to do with that? Because I know there's some of you Unza students, and you write to me. You say this to me. No, Mwewa, you're upset because you just didn't qualify to go to Unza. So you're just upset you didn't qualify. And I said this to you earlier today. Guys, newsflash, Unza is not the only learning institution in this country. So don't flatter yourself. I've said it and I'll say it again. And besides all of that, you've been downgraded to college level. So what the hell are you bragging about? Explain that to me. 30 years ago, you could say that. 30 years ago, you can say, oh, well, Mr. Mwewa, you didn't make the cut and you're not part of our creme de la creme group. Honey, things have changed. You're not that important. Let that sizzle in your spirit. You're cool, but you're not that cool. You're awesome, but you're not that awesome. And far be it from you to think that you are infallible simply because you're an Unza student. And what we, as the public, we can't say, when we see something wrong, we can't say that Unza, you can't do that. You can't mock mourn our first president. I'm much older than you. So what the hell are you talking about? Let's just begin there. Because most of you Unza students, you've got this attitude that, oh, nobody can tell you what to do. Oh, nobody can put you straight. That's the reason someone of my age can come to your campus and you can insult them and call them a dog. Bantu tamwa fundwa. Boom. Oh, no, honey, I come from old school. Say what you want. Talk all the nonsense you want. Honey, I'm old school. I come from a school of thought that says respect elders. When you see someone older than you, you say, va, emkwai. There's nothing wrong with that. But oh, honey, there's everything wrong with the way you do it. Everything is wrong with the way you do it. Nobody in this world can ever justify young people insulting elders. Listen, I'm on the right side of right. It's you that are wrong. Deep down in your heart, in the recesses of your spirit and your cerebellum, you know that what I'm telling you is the truth, but you are so prideful that you refuse to accept even the obvious. It doesn't take a rocket science to tell you that we live in a country that has culture, that has decency, that respects elders. You can't tell me that the way you do things at Unza is the right way to do it. No, sir, you better step away with that nonsense. Never in a million years will I ever accept that ukutukanaba kalamba is culture. And we as society just have to embrace it just because, oh, they're Unza students. You better step back. That's what you got to do. You got to step back, son. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. You don't know that, do you? Old school, we used to say that. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. But oh no, you kids, you run around here like you're somebody. You run around here like you're the stuff. Walking all high and mighty, riding high on the saddle, talking about how, oh, I'm an Unza student. You can't tell me what to do. Well, honey, I'm telling you what to do. And there's not a thing you can do about it. And this is the sad thing. Let me tell you one of Unza's problems. Unza has many problems, but this is one of them. Unza students are glorified kadas. Kadas. The only difference between Badaba Kada Babaku Intercity Vadia. Na Mwewa Unza students imwe. The only difference is imomo alikwata ka paper. That's the only difference. Let me repeat that. The only difference between you Unza students and the only difference is you have a document that says you're sort of smart. But even then, you're not that great because those guys that's intercity, at least they've got street smarts. But you kids, you kids just act like them. Nsele fulu mukanwa. Fulu mukanwa. At yo ni foba unza. Go. Nonsense. I will tell you straight up. Respect elders. Say yes, please. Say yes, sir. Mkwai. Mkwai. Yes. That's old school. That's beautiful. The way you do it is archaic. It's nonsense. And when you have kids, they'll do it to you. And then you're going to wonder why your kids have run amok. They've gone astray. They've lost their way. Why? Because you planted that seed of rebellion. Rebellion against authority. Rebellion against authority. And the disdain for respect. So, bottom line, and I've been speaking for 30 minutes, let me bring it to a halt here and just say this. That mock crying, that mock mourning that you did when Dr. Kaunda passed away, that was done in bad taste. I would urge you, Unza students, to apologize for that. Oh, but here's the thing. Here, let me tell you. When you say to an Unza student, apologize, the Unza student looks at you like a calf looking at a new gate. Me? Apologize to you? Hell no. I'm an Unza student. I don't apologize. Why? Why don't you apologize? What? Because you've got that gang mentality over there? Have you ever, you know, let me tell you, Unza is exactly like Kadas. They are exactly like Kadas. Kadas are only powerful when they are in numbers. I mean, I've experienced Kadas here at Simoson for many years. All it takes is some politician, and all politicians do this. All it takes is a politician to go to Unza and just pay you guys off. You will sing like a canary. You will say what they want you to say. You will riot and cause chaos simply because somebody has paid you. You're no different from Kadas. You're the same. You're the same. And one of the reasons why you're the way you are is because you've allowed politics to infiltrate your institution of learning. You've allowed politicians from both sides of the aisle, whether it's opposition, whether it's ruling party, whether it's in between, you have allowed politics to infiltrate your institution of learning. So you kids are messed up. Let's just put it that way. So here's my admonition to you. And I'm speaking to you as an elder. I know you don't like that. You don't like that because you were raised wrong. You don't respect elders. All you respect is your chaotic way of life. But that's okay. Kuntanshi, you'll see the value of respecting elders. You may not see it now. Right now, you're all, but there'll come a time when you'll realize, oh, fidia balelanda fidia. Eifi. Fidia baletwe baba Mwewa fidia. Ifi. Why? Twali kwa tentambu. Ntambi. We are black. We're black. You should be proud of it. You should say something. It's real. Embrace it. So, Unza, I give you 24 hours. 24 hours to apologize for that video where you mourned the passing of our president. And the reason, if you see the video, there was no close-up, it's because you're ashamed. You know you did wrong. You didn't, even the person that was recording didn't show himself because he knows you did wrong. And you expect us to understand your culture? No, Mr. Mwewa, no, we're not going to understand your culture. We're not. That's nonsense. So here it is. I give you 24 hours to apologize for that video. If you don't apologize within 24 hours, I feel sorry for you. I've spoken. Do the right thing. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Welcome to News Yapa Z, your #1 channel. Thank you so very much for watching News Yapa Z. And do me a favor, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe to News Yapa Z. And do not forget to hit the notification bell so that each and every time we post new videos, you'll be the first one to be notified. Thank you so very much for watching News Yapa Z.